Alright, listen up. So COD Mobile's now in Season 8, going on Season 9. There have been a lot of meta changes, a lot of new guns introduced, and there is just a need for another updated top 5 loadouts video for rank because there is so much that has changed ever since the last video I made. So we're going to go ahead and go over my top 5 used rank loadouts, and these will help you guys out with, CODM champs, rank, getting to legendary, whatever you guys need. It's going to require you guys to get some nice loadouts. So let's go ahead and get started.
Walk up with my toolie, what they do? Meet me in the alley with the troops.
Number 5, we got the QQ9. We are using the flood skin, but of course if you don't have the skin, it's totally fine. So yeah, this is my aggressive setup. This one, I'm just going like all in, close range combat, usually using this in hardpoint on like smaller maps where there's like a lot of engages at close range. So yeah, we got the QQ9. Let's go ahead and hop into these attachments. So first things first, here's my recommendation for you guys. If you are using the QQ9 that does have that weird round circle iron sight, I would actually use a scope, and I would go ahead and use the red dot. But if you are fortunate to have the QQ9 flood or any other skin that has a good iron sight, then I would just not even use a scope at all, because at close range you'd rather have an iron sight than having a scope. So in this case, since I do have this skin, I'm just going to go ahead and leave the scope off and just use the iron sight, because it does have a pretty good one. So for our first attachment, we do want a fast ADS time. We're trying to be aggressive, taking close range combat. For that, we're going to be taking the quick draw here. Moving on, we are going to be using the extended mag, and that's just because at close range, you just want to make sure you have enough bullets to take, double kills, triple kills without having to reload too much. So for that reason, we are going to be using the extended mag. And then for this final attachment, now it depends on how aggressive you guys are going. I'm going to actually recommend the long barrel, because if you do want to take a medium range fight, you can do so because you're still going to have that extra damage from the long barrel. But if you're purely taking close range, you might want to go something more like a laser sight, or you could even go with a stock if you want to increase your strafing speed. But for my case, I still want to be able to take mid-range fights, so I am using the long barrel. So that's what we're using on here. If you want to, you could also go with a foregrip, which is a classic attachment for something with higher recoils. But since the QQ9 has a reasonable recoil, I don't really think it's necessary taking mid-range, because it's not like you're going to take long-range fights with this gun anyways. But yeah, this is what we're using. Let's go ahead and move on. We got the SMRS here, because with the QQ9 you're not going to be taking out UAVs and counter UAVs. With the QQ9 it just doesn't have enough range and it doesn't have enough damage, and you're just eating up your ammo. So we got the SMRS to do that for us. So let's go ahead and move on to the operators now. Alright, so moving on here, we got the operator skill. I've pretty much been using this a ton lately in the past seasons since this thing has been out. So we're just going, we're going with the Annihilator. Honestly, until it gets nerfed, we're probably just going to keep using it because I'm just loving it. For the lethal, it is an SMG, so I think we'll go ahead and throw in the trip mine. I usually switch between frag and trip mine a lot in SMG classes. With ARs, I usually just go with frag. But the reason trip mines are better in SMGs is because you're always moving around, so you always have a chance of people following you and just coming from behind you. So it's always good to leave trip mines in your trail so you could catch people with those. So I'm just gonna go with the trip mine. For the tactical grenade, I always use smoke grenades with an SMG setup, because you're going to be pushing a lot, rushing a lot, so you can use the smoke grenades to reposition. You can even push through the smoke grenade for like a surprise attack, whatever you want to do. They're just really useful. The SMGs already give you pretty fast movement speed, so I usually would go with lightweight, but you already have pretty good movement speed, so unless you're playing Search and Destroy and you're going for a rush, then I would try making a lightweight setup. But I'm just going to go with fast recover, especially if I'm playing something like Domination. I'm just going to want to be like recovering my HP a lot, because I'm going to be taking a lot of fights. So yeah, that's what we're using for this. For the perk here, I'm just going to go with Ghost. If you guys are struggling with Shock RCs and you feel like you're just dying to them all the time, I would go ahead and just use Cold-Blooded to be safe. Finally, for the last perk, you guessed it, we're using Dead Silence, which, spoiler, will pretty much be the perk that we're using on all of our classes. Alright, so that is our fifth class setup. This is one that I use like occasionally if I'm going really aggressive, or if we're playing hardpoint and it's a really small map, I'll just whip out the QQ9 and just start shredding people at closer range. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to number 4. Got the BK57. I just threw on the Wild West skin here, so we'll go ahead and get started with this setup. Now, the BK57, there could be one skin variant that I'm forgetting about, but for the most part, it doesn't really have a good iron sight. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and throw on a scope. I would just go with the red dot. Of course, you guys already know we got the gunsmith coming, so there's going to be a whole lot more scopes come into the game, so we'll be using something different, I'm sure, by then. But for now, we're just going to go with the red dot sight. I would recommend a sight on all BK57s. Unless you actually like the iron sight, then, you know, all power to you, just use it. For the first attachment, once again, we are going with quick draw. I always use quick draws on my ARs, especially since we have a scope. And the scopes, if you guys don't know, they reduce your ADS time just by a little bit, so the quick draw kind of helps pick it back up again. Next attachment here, I am using the foregrip. I tend to use the BK57 at longer ranges a lot, mid-range most of the time, so foregrip is pretty much a staple attachment. I'm definitely going to want it. And for this final attachment, there's actually 2, maybe even 3 really good options here. So the first one, you could go with extended mag. Now, the reason I'm not saying 100% use extended mag is because the BK57 actually already has a pretty like large mag size, so you don't really need it. It's similar to the Rust. I believe the Rust has like, I could be wrong, it's either 36 or 38 bullets without extended mag. So it's quite a bit, so you don't really need to use an extended mag. BK57, same way. But if you feel like you're just running out of ammo too much, then all power to you. Throw on the extended mag. But in my case, I actually like using the stock. It kind of helps with my strafing when I'm ADS. So I like the stock. That's personal preference. And I do know that some people really like wall banging with ARs, especially when you're using something as long range as the BK57. If you do like that, then you could go with FMJ as your third attachment. But for my playstyle, I like playing really kind of mid-range aggressive, and I like strafing. So I got the stock AR equipped. Alright. So let's go ahead and move on. We have the pistol here. I don't take RPGs with ARs all the time, because with ARs you could shoot UAVs and counter UAVs down pretty quickly, especially with something as long range as the BK57. So we just got the J3 here just to finish off. If somebody's one tap, just hit them once with the J3 and they're dead. And I don't know why I'm missing an attachment here. I should have the FMJ. That's what I'm using for my pistol. I use this setup on every pistol, so just know that I got laser sight, extended mag, and FMJ. Alright, for the operator skill, same old, same old. Still using the Annihilator, just really good with everything right now. It's good at close range, good at mid-range, good at long range. The Annihilator is just super good. Alright, so since we are using an AR and it is long range, we're going to go ahead and throw on a frag grenade. So we'll go ahead and throw on, it's a cool skin. We'll go with this champ skin here. And for the tactical, you could go with smoke if you're really aggressive, but this isn't an insanely aggressive AR, so I would probably just go with the passive and just go with a trophy system. The real question is when we're gonna get a trophy system skin. Had this thing for so long. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the perks here. So obviously with this BK57, it's not going to give you any extra movement speed since it's an AR, so I am going to be using lightweight for this setup just to make me a little bit more mobile. And for this perk here, I'm going to go ahead and throw on Ghost as well, just so I'm a little bit more stealth. And finally, we pretty much already went over this, but we're always using Dead Silence for our third perk. I've tried Shrapnel. It's okay. It's more of a troll perk, I feel like. If you're trying to do something cool and troll people, then yeah, go with Shrapnel. Alright, moving on to the third setup here. We got the Kn44. Alright, guys, now, the Kn44, I want you guys to keep this in mind. If you are watching this video, like, long after it was uploaded, then the Kn44 is most likely nerfed, and it still is good, but just know that it's not as good as when I first uploaded this video. So, I would use the Kn44 regardless, because it's still a really high damage gun with a fast fire rate. But just a heads up, it might not be as good in the future. But anyways, we're using the Eruption skin. I like this one just because it has a little range perk here. If you don't have the Eruption, that's totally fine. Let's go ahead and start off. So first things first, am I using an optic? Nope, and I probably never will. To be honest with you guys, I think the Kn44 has one of my favorite iron sights. It's so clear, and it's like not too bulky. It's just like perfect, I feel like. So yeah, we're not using any sort of scopes there. For the first attachment here, we are using the quick draw, using this on pretty much any type of AR I have. Just throw on the quick draw automatically. Once again, I'm going to refer back to what I was saying earlier. So if you're watching this in the future and the Kn44 gets that recoil nerf, which I know it will get because I've seen it in the test server, then I would use the foregrip. But if you're watching this video when it's first uploaded, you probably don't even need the foregrip. I wouldn't even bother because the Kn44 doesn't really have that much recoil. So I'm not going to use the foregrip. I'm just going to go ahead and throw on something like the extended mag, which is going to go well with the Kn44 because it only has, I think, 30 bullets, and then the extended is going to add it 8 bullets, making it 38, which is a good amount. So extended mag's perfect. And for the final attachment, once again, use foregrip if the Kn44 has been nerfed since this video was uploaded and it has more recoil. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and throw on FMJ. I just like FMJ on the KN. Another good option, though, is to go with the stock. The stock is also really good. I use the stock on the BK, but for whatever reason, I just like using FMJ and the Kn44. So yeah, that's what we got there. We're just using a pistol for our secondary. Same reasoning for why we use the pistol with our BK, just because you don't need any RPGs in your secondary to take UAVs and counter UAVs, because your AR will do it plenty fast. So yeah, operator skill, once again, using the Annihilator. For the lethal, we are going to go ahead and use a frag. Go and throw this lightning one on here. Looks pretty cool. For the tactical grenade, I actually find myself going aggressive with the Kn44 a lot, so I'm actually not going to go with the trophy. We'll go with a smoke grenade here. And for the perks, once again, I said I found myself going aggressive with this, so I'm going to go with lightweight. If I'm using an aggressive AR, I just go with speed and stealth. And for this one here, I tried using something recently. I think it was hardwired with the KN, because I go aggressive with it, but I still feel like Ghost is the best option. But yeah, I think hardwired and Ghost are two of the most aggressive perks if you're looking for a good green perk. Toughness is also pretty decent, but you know. For the third perk, we're just going to use Dead Silence as always. Alright guys, now we're getting to some of my more favorite class setups, so here we go, get ready. Now, as of recently, I haven't been spamming this one as much as most players, but you guys are going to see it and you're going to be like, oh yeah, I see that in every single lobby. And I think it actually is getting nerfed soon. Thank goodness. But anyways, here it is, guys. You guessed it. It's the Cordite. We got the 0G skin on here because why not? It looks cool. But of course, you don't need it, skin if you don't have one for the Cordite. But anyways, let's hop into this. So for the optic, nope, no chance. The Cordite has one of the best iron sights in the game. You guys can see it for yourself. It's just like really clear what you're shooting at. I love the Cordite iron sight. And yeah, we're just not even going to bother with any scopes. So for the first attachment for the Cordite. Now, this is a funny gun because you guys might already know it has really, really good hip fire, like really good hip fire. So a lot of the time you don't even need a quick draw because you don't even need to bother ADSing really quickly because you already have really good hip fire. So why would you want to ADS close range? Just hip fire them. So just keep that in mind. You don't really need a quick draw. So we'll go ahead and skip that attachment for now and we'll come back. So let's go ahead and start out with the foregrip. So if you guys are watching this in the future, when the Cordite gets a recoil nerf, I would throw the foregrip on. If you're watching it right now, like when I upload this video, you don't really need the foregrip. It's got pretty low recoil. I wouldn't worry about it. So the attachment that you are definitely going to want, though, is going to be long barrel. Long barrel isn't always for the Cordite, because the Cordite's got some range. It's got some range, and you can only just add to the range by adding a long barrel. So next thing here, we'll go ahead and throw on the quick draw. Now, just keep in mind, you don't need to scope in if you're shooting at somebody close range, because the Cordite already has really good hip fire. But, of course, Cordite, at longer range, if you want to use quick draw, it's going to help you with ADS and overall just help you. And then for the third attachment, I've actually found myself using some weird combinations for the third one because you don't really need an extended mag. The Cordite already has plenty of ammo. Don't really need a fast mag or fast reload, whatever you want to call it. So what I've actually used is I've used a suppressor on the Cordite before for fun, and I've actually liked it. I think it kind of works. So if you're going aggressive with the Cordite, it works well, even though technically the long barrel and the suppressor are both like doing opposite things. One's adding to range, one's actually taking away. I don't know, I love the suppressor on the Cordite. I feel like it just synergizes really well. But if you don't want to use that, you could go with something more aggressive like the stock or the FMJ. But I'm just going to go ahead and throw on the suppressor. I think it just goes really well with the Cordite. And finally, Cordite doesn't have insane range to take UAVs and counter UAVs out, so we are using that SMRS just to one-shot those things. For the operator skill, I'm going to go ahead and use the Annihilator once again here. But actually, as soon as the Katana comes out, I'm probably going to be using this instead of the Annihilator. Anyways, so for the lethals, it is a SMG, so I'll probably go with something really aggressive, like a trip mine, just so people chasing me down, just throw a trip mine behind me, catch them in their tracks. And with the, of course, with the tactical, we're going to go with the smoke. I'm always going with smokes. We'll go ahead and throw on with the natural hunter. That's a cool smoke grenade, because I want to push people, I want to reposition, stuff like that. For the perk, Usually I don't use lightweight on SMGs, but for the cordite I do sometimes. If I'm not using lightweight, I'm using fast recover. So I think we'll go with a fast recover for this setup. It's a little bit more aggressive because you already have movement speed. You got an SMG. You don't need extra movement speed unless you want to be like super fast. But I think fast recover just goes well because, you know, you heal up quicker, less chance of dying. For the second perk here, we are going to go with Ghost once again here. Ghost is just super meta right now because it's just everyone's using UAVs. It's like the most popular perk, so Ghost just helps you out. Alrighty, and finally, we are going to go with Dead Silence. Alright, guys, so that is our second class setup, our second most popular one that we use. Now, our most popular, most used one that I use most of the time here. You guys ready? Let's see if you guys can guess. Take a guess. It should be pretty obvious because this gun is really OP right now and it's not getting a nerf from what I've seen so far in the test server. So here it is. Are you ready for the #1 spot? We got the DRH and we got Gunzo the Clown. Well, hey buddy, I see you just staring me down. Yep. Anyways, we got the DRH, we got the chain skin here. You could use the normal DRH, of course, but the DRH right now, guys, it is just absolutely overpowered. It 3-shots people at close range. It has a really good fire rate, and it's got low recoil, and it doesn't look like it's getting a nerf in the test server. And if it is, then I probably just didn't catch it, and it's a really small nerf. So yeah, DRH is in a really good spot right now, and this gun is brand new, which is kind of the cool part. It's cool when you see a brand new gun like just take over and people are starting to use it a lot. Anyways, DRH, great iron sight. Great iron sight. I wouldn't even just throw on a scope regardless of what range you're going to use this at. It's just got such a good iron sight, you don't even need to use a scope. So we're going to skip over that. For the attachment here, we are going to go ahead and throw on the quick draw. Quick draw is pretty much a staple. We are going to use this new attachment called the OTM. Now, if you don't know what it did, I explained it in my DRH video that I did a little bit ago. But basically, it just increases your damage. If you don't have the OTM, it's a 4-shot kill close range. If you do have the OTM, it's a 3-shot kill close range. So why would you not want this attachment? I would always use this on the DRH. For the final attachment, there are a lot of attachments that work good with this gun. That's what makes it really hard to choose. The foregrip works good, the extended mag works good, and the stock all work good. I think I'm going to go ahead... I'll go ahead and throw on the extended mag, but if you're using this gun like at long range a lot, then I would go ahead and throw on the foregrip. If you're going super aggressive, throw on stock. I'd say the most popular two that you should be using are the foregrip and the extended mag. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and throw on the extended foregrip. It's got low recoil, so you don't really need the foregrip. But like I said, unless you're really long range. Anyways, that's what we got on our DRH there. Got the J358 black gold. We don't need any RPGs there because we could shoot down UAVs and counter UAVs really quickly with the DRH because it's got some good range to it. So yeah, and finally, operator skills here, going with the Annihilator. Lethals, going with frag, and tac. We're probably gonna go... I do actually find myself going aggressive with the DRH, so we won't even bother with trophy system. We'll just go with the smoke. We're gonna go ahead and throw on... See, there's actually some good ones. You could go with flak, you could go with fast recover, you could go with lightweight, and you can actually even go with agile. So we're gonna go ahead... We'll go ahead and throw on lightweight, because I do go pretty aggressive with this gun, so I want a little extra movement speed. But flak jacket works well, too, if you're going for nukes and stuff, because this is a really good weapon for going with a nuke, and you just don't want to die to an explosion. Flak jacket's just really good for that, because it reduces your damage from explosions. But if you're also taking lots of gunfights going aggressive, fast recover is also another good option. And then agile is probably not necessary, but if you're overkill with your ADS time, then you could go for it. We're just going to go with lightweight, though. And these last two attachments are going to be pretty much the same as we've been using for the video, so we're going to go and throw on Ghost, and we're throwing on Dead Silence. So yeah, guys, that is our #1 setup, the DRH, with all this stuff thrown on. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, let me know down in the comment section. I'll probably have a pinned comment that asks you guys what are your like top 5 loadouts. Let me know what you guys have. I'm curious to see how your guys' stuff compares and contrasts to mine. But yeah, this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was a longer one, but I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.